Morning, Mike Greenberg with you. Delighted you've chosen to get up with us. And again, first, foremost, and forever, what we do here, we're doing for all of you who are medical professionals and first responders. We thank you for all the work that we are doing, that you are doing. And the work we're doing is to try and keep you entertained as best we can here for the next 2 hours as we, as sports fans, get through all of this together. And we start as we get up and go. Dan Graziano is reporting that the NFL has been working to ensure technological issues don't result in major problems for the now entirely virtual NFL draft. The league is planning to build several safeguards and conduct multiple tests of this symptom. Meantime, in an Instagram live chat with Maria Taylor yesterday, Alabama's Nick Saban said he'd be open to moving the start of the college football season. We'll talk about that with Laura in just a few minutes. Elsewhere, Zach LaVine, Trae Young, and Chris Paul are among the players expected to participate in the NBA's upcoming horse tournament, which the league is finalizing plans for as we speak. And Trae Young himself had some fun on Twitter about this last night, tweeting first to former slam dunk champ Zach LaVine, absolutely no dunking, and then playing to his strengths, half-court shots only. My money's on Trae Young. We'll see. Meanwhile, LeBron James held court on a Zoom conference call with reporters last night, 4 weeks to the day since the NBA season was shut down. Here's some of what LeBron had to say about the chances of the league resuming at some point soon.
The line of communication is open, not only from the owners, from the players, from the whole league, from Adam Silver and everyone. We want to continue to be in communication and see what possible ways we can get back going. And obviously the number one thing is the safety and the well-being of all of us here in America first, and getting this pandemic under control. I believe once that's under control and they allow us to resume some type of activity, I would love to get the season back going. If it's in one single isolated destination like this Las Vegas or somewhere else that can, hold us and keep us in the best possible chance to be safe, then those conversations will be had. Will there be another game this year with NBA fans in the stands? I don't know, but I truly hope so. We definitely hope that someday that we can get our fans back in the stands. It just makes the game so much better, not only just basketball, like I said, but sports in general. But we want to see what happens.
All right, so LeBron James, optimistic and realistic, which is what we've tried to be here, and that is Jalen Rose, who was with us. And Jalen, I want to ask you a question that they asked me on First Take the other day, and I'm really interested to hear your response. You could argue that no one has more at stake from a basketball standpoint in a return than LeBron does. Do you believe that the resumption of this season is his best chance of winning a championship?
I do believe the resumption of this season is his best opportunity to win a championship. And for all fans of sports and large gatherings like concerts and whatnot, I'm starting to be relegated to believe that we will have to be entertained without fans in the stands for the remainder of 2020. Now, again, I'm hoping that when NFL starts in September, I'm hoping the NBA can resume in late July or August. But if it does, I heard LeBron's commentary, it won't be with fans in the stands, in my opinion. And if you look at LeBron James in his 17th year, Greeny, at his age, when you build a squad around him, of course Anthony Davis is an anchor, but then all of a sudden you look deeper into the roster, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Avery Bradley, Danny Green, Rajon Rondo. They don't have long-term situations with the Lakers. They were brought there to try to win a championship this year. So therefore, if this squad isn't playing, what happens next year to a Kyle Kuzma, who really didn't fit in with Anthony Davis and LeBron because he got injured as the season started? So for LeBron, other teams are ascending. The Clippers in their own building, the Bucks in the Eastern Conference with Giannis, who's probably going to win this year's MVP. So absolutely, this is LeBron's window. If they don't get it done this year, I don't believe it happens.
I agree. And if it winds up not coming back, then I think it does cost him his best chance to win another championship, which is as important as we want to make it. We're a sports show. From a sports perspective, that's obviously very important. I would throw in Golden State in that conversation, Jalen, when they all come back, and we assume they will, and add a piece or two here or there. If they do resume this year, and we all hope that they will, whether there are fans in the stands or not, do you believe the Lakers are the favorite to win it?
I believed the final weekend of the NBA before it got shut down, I was fortunate enough to be in Los Angeles. And I was in the building to watch the Lakers beat the Bucks. I was in the building to watch the Lakers beat the Clippers. Green Mamba, that was the best basketball that they were playing all season. And if this was collegiate basketball, they would have been the #1 seed. So at that point, I say the Lakers were the best in basketball, but once we resume, you got to reset the clock, and that might change. Now all of a sudden, Kawhi Leonard ain't going to really need to load manage. Paul George is not going to be as hampered by the injuries that plagued him all year. And so based on that, I still have to put Clippers in pole position in Los Angeles if and when things resume.
Maybe. The argument I would give you against that, Jalen, is maybe the rest. Again, I hate to even put it in that perspective because obviously what we're dealing with is so much more important. But from a purely basketball standpoint, LeBron James is playing a lot of minutes. He's been playing every game. He's carried a lot of the load. Maybe the time off would actually benefit him more than anybody else.
It's a two-way street, but just looking at the chessboard, what ends up happening is LeBron is going to be the primary ball handler for the Lakers. The Clippers have multiple people that can make him work to get the ball up in an operating area and actually be efficient. In the final game they played against the Clippers, they ran a lot of coverages that they wouldn't run late in the season or they wouldn't run in the playoffs. They weren't doubling LeBron. They weren't running somebody at him. You have Beverly. You have Kawhi. You have Paul George. You have multiple people that you could throw at LeBron and make him work. They still have to develop other primary ball handlers. Can Rajon Rondo, can Caruso actually get them into their offense? Can they feature AD with LeBron on the floor? Those are still questions the Lakers needed to answer.
I tell you what, it feels good to talk a little basketball one way or the other. All right, later in the show, Jalen, I'm going to ask you who would win a game of horse if the entire NBA participated. We'll do that a little later. Great to have Jalen back with us here. In the meantime, to the NFL draft, because we are 2 weeks to the day now until the first picks are made, and we will finally learn which team will roll the dice on Tua Tagovailoa. Well, most mock drafts have him projected 5th to the Dolphins. Our ESPN NFL draft predictor doesn't see him lasting that long. According to our model, we have Tua most likely to be selected 3rd overall at over 50% chance. You see it there on your screen. That pick is owned right now by the Lions. Of course, the Dolphins could move up there. Right now, there's only a 23% chance that Tua winds up getting picked at number 5 overall. And we're at that time of the year where all the different rumors start to swirl around 2 weeks away from this draft. And here are my guys for this morning. Dan Orlovsky and Marcus Spears are here. And, you know, Danny, you were making an interesting point as we all sort of weigh the risk and reward of Tua. You were making an interesting point in our meeting this morning. I'd love you to share because it's something I haven't really heard other people say.
Yeah, Greeny, we're not giving Tua enough credit for his toughness. And if you remember the movie The Program, right, we learned that there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. You can't play injured. It's going to make the situation worse. But can you play hurt? And playing hurt is about a physical toughness and a mental toughness and a grit that's inside of you. And we watched Tua play hurt in that SEC title game a couple years ago. And then we watched him come back and play in the national title game against Clemson, hurt. We watched him play against LSU this year, hurt, where he threw for 420 yards and 4 touchdowns against a really good defense. And so, you know, durability matters, of course, but so does toughness and so does grit. And the good thing with Tua is he has displayed that. And Greeny, the last thing I would say about it is this. The top 3 free agent quarterbacks this year in the NFL were Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Teddy Bridgewater. And I know it's convenient right now. Everyone wants to write Tua's tombstone, but they wanted to do that to Tom Brady when he tore his ACL. And they wanted to do it to Drew Brees when he ripped up his shoulder. And they wanted to do it to Teddy Bridgewater when he ripped up his knee. It didn't stop those guys. Those catastrophic injuries did not stop those guys because they're mentally, physically tough, and they've got grit. And I think that Tua has displayed that, and we need to give him more credit for it.
It's an interesting way of looking at it because it's sort of the opposite of what we usually discuss with him. So, Marcus, again, as one who probably saw every snap of his career covering it for the SEC Network, you just saw that our model has the likeliest spot for him to go at number 3. Do you think he is? Would you be willing to roll the dice on trading up if you're the Dolphins or taking him 3rd overall?
Absolutely, G. Look, I'm going where I've been all season long when it comes to this, when we've been having this discussion. We are not talking about giving Tua $60 million to walk in the building. This is an opportunity for the Dolphins not only to hit a grand slam, and if the durability concerns come to rear its ugly head, you know what? That's just a bullet that you have to bite and you start back over. But when I look at Tua and his ability and what I watched Tua do at Alabama with his arm, the way he led a team with a lot of talent around him, I would take that chance on the kid. Now, look, we can't get over the fact that there's durability concerns. That's something that you cannot, through this draft process, get past with just saying, well, he's tough and he played through it. I agree with Dan. That's a quality that you want in your quarterback. But for as long as this draft has been going on, since I've had the ability to watch it and understand it, when guys have injury concerns, it costs them sometimes in this process. And into a situation, obviously what happened at Alabama, beyond the hip, him playing through injury, but also having those injuries is an issue.
Very quickly, because you just said you don't have to spend $60 million on him. I get that. If you're the Dolphins and you take him at 5, that's one thing. They have 3 first-round picks. If you start mortgaging a lot more than just one, if you start trading stuff, now you are giving up a lot. Are you willing to do that quickly?
But yes, I am willing to do it because they addressed a lot of their issues in free agency, and the draft process is not the only process that you get your team better. So it's a lot of other avenues that they can use to become better in Miami if you have a franchise quarterback.
Okay, we will talk much more about this. Dan and Marcus with me all morning long, and Bobby Carpenter will jump in as well. Meanwhile, coming up, we have